the same question. What brought you to Elvis?
A lot of things, really. You know, I always thought he was cool when I was a kid. My mom was a fan, and my aunt really, really loved Elvis a lot. She was not too much older than me when I was like in elementary school. She was in high school, and she always really loved Elvis. And my dad would be a DJ for weddings and stuff like that, and particularly Hispanic weddings. So you hear like cumbia, merengue, salsa, bachata, these weddings. But there was always, you know, in Hispanic culture, oldies and old rock and it's very popular. You know, when you go to lowrider shows, you hear a lot of that type of stuff. So there was always oldies being played at the house, and there was always a lot of Elvis. And I always thought, man, this cat's really cool. He has really cool hair, and he's kind of just poised. He has his stuff together. And I was an actor, making no money, and I was waiting tables, and I met a lady named Kathy Rogers, and she owned a company called Hetzer Theatrical. It was inherited to her from her father. Her father owned a company, and they put all of the animal acts on the Ed Sullivan Show in the 1950s. So anytime you saw dancing bears or dog tricks and stuff like that, it was her father's company. And so she loved Elvis and adored Elvis. And when she inherited the company, she started a look-alike department. And I was waiting on her at Saltgrass Steakhouse in Fort Worth, Texas. And she said, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "I'm a singer. You know, I do some musicals, do some Insane Colored Dreamcoat and the Fantastics, a couple of Shakespeare, which I'll never ever do again. I hate Shakespeare." But she said, "Have you ever thought about doing Elvis?" And I was like, "No." I mean, I was trying to do a rockabilly band, but we weren't any good. And so I was like, "But I like rockabilly and I like punk rock and roll." And she said, "Well," she kind of told me there's this whole world of tribute, and this was probably about 2006, 2005. So it was when the, you know, MySpace was the thing back then, right? So I went online and I was like, started looking at Elvis tribute on MySpace, and I saw all these people, you know, and like Sean, Trent Carlini and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then there was, Joseph was on that TV show, like the next year.
America's Got Talent?
America's Got Talent, yeah, my good buddy Joseph. You got
Joseph Hall. Joseph Hall. We love Joseph.
This guy's really cool. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give this a shot. So I took all my money out of savings and I bought some costumes, and I was super, super broke. But I was like, I want to give this a shot. And then I wanted to work with legends. So I went to Branson and I competed. I think you were one of the judges too. And I won.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, you were a host or something. This was a long time ago when I won. And so that's kind of what like really start the career. But it wasn't until I was in the career when I really started to study who Elvis was and really grow that appreciation to realize not only did he shape music, but he actually helped shape the world. And you also have to remember the team behind Elvis, because if it wasn't for Sam Phillips, you wouldn't have had Elvis. You had to have someone that believed in the man. You know, you had someone that believed in his vision. And it was a great vision to begin with. And for what Elvis has done for music, particularly for race music, rock and roll music at the time, and the way Elvis's personality was, it shaped society, it shaped the world. The world was never the same afterwards, you know what I mean? So it could have been someone else, but it just wouldn't have been the same if it wasn't that love, but also that provocativeness, you know what I mean? And I feel that's what Elvis brought from the black culture, was that they weren't scared to be, you know, you have gospel music that were about God, but you also had your blues music that was sexy at the time. And it was all integrated together to where it just brought like, hey, this is who we are as human beings. And Elvis kind of came out through the gates running and say, this is who I am as a human being. I'm going to sing Baby Let's Play House, but I'm also going to sing Peace of the Valley. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't one dimension. He wasn't just one dimensional. He had so many dimensions to him.
So many good points in there.
Yeah, just like we are as people.
He is the big bang of music.
And that's what Chuck Berry said. It's hilarious. Like when someone says Elvis stole from Chuck Berry, I was like, you know nothing about mid-century music when you make that statement.
Absolutely.
First of all, the timeline of the releases doesn't line up. But also, Chuck Berry said himself in an interview, Elvis was the big bang of rock and roll. Elvis did not create rock and roll, but he was the king of rock and roll because he was the big bang. He was already booming. He was already scoring up in the late 40s with the Lonnie Harris and Leonard Williams and all these great artists. And then Elvis took that and went, absolutely. And here we are in this moment right now, today. Yeah. That's how the stars align. We wouldn't be here if we didn't play.
We're still celebrating it right now.
We will.
We will.
We keep will.
We want to celebrate some more with Victor Trevino. Let's get some more music going, man. What do you say? What do you want to sing next?
This is one of my favorite ballads.